We have another special guest on the line for you guys this morning. We have Clare Lopez from the Center for Security Policy. Claire, good morning.
Good morning, Raheem. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for joining us. I trust you had a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Yes, very much so.
Very, very good. Claire, we wanted to reflect on the importance of what the administration is doing at the moment vis-a-vis the United Nations. We heard a lot of talk in the last week, and some of the callers on this program said, "Yeah, okay, that's talk. That's talk. When are we going to see action?" And they followed up in very, very swift measure indeed with action, or at least the announcement of an action that had already been decided upon. Nikki Haley, fresh from chewing out the United Nations, announces a $285 million reduction in United Nations funding from the United States. Talk to us a little bit about this. Was this always going to happen? Was this always on the cards? Would this have happened under a Hillary presidency? Was it a planned paring down for a while, or is this something unique and to this administration? And how do you feel about it? Because I feel pretty damn great about it.
Well, I think this is very much a policy of the Trump administration. No, this would not have happened under any other administration, almost that I can think of. As we know, I mean, as your listeners know, there's tremendous bloat and bureaucratic corruption within the United Nations, has been for a very long time. But the point about this negotiation that Nikki Haley achieved in reducing the overall budget of the United Nations. Now, of course, you know, $285 million is probably a fairly small percentage amount of the overall budget for the United Nations. But the point is the significance of it. The significance of saying, we, the United States of America, we have footed for a long time approximately 22% of the overall United Nations budget, and gotten slapped around for it in return. And lack of respect, just completely disregarding our positions and our friendships with, for example, Israel, and that's got to stop. It's not that we're buying votes. It's not that we're punishing those who stand for some measure or principle. No, that's not the point. But if we're going to fund that much of that budget, first of all, the corruption has got to be cleaned up. And then secondly, there has to be a little more respect for the one who is footing that much of the bill.
And how much of that respect do you think you're getting now? If you had to put it into percentage terms, at the United Nations, how much respect does the United States get, apart from what it's guaranteed via its veto power?
You know, you get the respect that you demand. You don't demand respect, you don't get it. And that's been the case for a long time. I think that it's going to take a long time to change, but I think we're already beginning to see the effects of United States leadership. And I'll give just one small example, and that is after President Trump made the announcement that the United States would indeed, according to our law, move the United States Embassy in Israel from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. At least one other country made the decision to follow us likewise, and that is Guatemala. Yes, one country, one small Central American country, but sometimes what it takes is leadership. And then, maybe slowly, but the others will begin to notice and to follow, and that's what I think we should look forward to under a Trump administration.
Do you think the UN will learn from this? $285 million gone, right? Is that a drop in the ocean for them? Will they just look at that and chortle?
It is a small amount, as I said, compared to the overall expenditure of the United Nations, sure. And plenty of them will absolutely not chortle, maybe, but ignore what we stand for, what we want, and continue to oppose us on all manner of issues. But I think the point here is that they have to sit up and take notice that there is a new president, and he is charting out a new policy for the United States. And Nikki Haley has just been a tremendous United Nations ambassador for us. And so I think they will take notice at least. I think that there will be a change, not in the hardcore bloc that always has and always will oppose us. Organization of Islamic Cooperation, for example, is never going to turn around and follow the leadership of the United States. But other countries will. Those maybe on the fence, those not quite decided, those who will tend to follow a leader. And President Trump is now providing that leadership.
Where does the route take us in 2018 with this? Because if the status quo ante remains, do you think this administration is willing to offer some more swinging cuts to the budget?
Well, I don't know, but we could see. Certainly, this is an indicator. This is a marker put down. That there will be changes. It is not going to be simply status quo ante for the United States at the United Nations. And it remains to be seen on exactly what issues will take a harder stand. Certainly, I think we have gotten their attention with our steadfast support for our ally Israel and the moving of our embassy there.
Claire, in the field of national security and where all this ties together, what are we looking out for this coming year? What's on your radar?
Well, certainly there are the crisis points that we've all been looking at over the last several weeks, months really, and they have to do with emerging nuclear powers, North Korea, of course. Now with a demonstrated ability to reach the United States with an intercontinental ballistic missile tipped with either a conventional or an electromagnetic pulse nuclear warhead. Iran has got to be considered with the same capability as North Korea. Whatever North Korea has, Iran has. It's a joint venture between them in both ballistic missiles and in nuclear warheads and the EMP technology I just mentioned. Those have got to be top of the list. Tensions in the Middle East are not going away, of course. And many other relationships will have to be managed, as with China.
We're speaking with Clare Lopez from the Center for Security Policy. Do you share the Bannon view, the Steve Bannon view, that actually the Middle East is not on a knife edge at the moment? This is a region that is actually already at war, and that is not being taken seriously in the Western media.
Yeah, I agree completely. It's not on a knife edge at all. It's been descending in a free fall of chaos and violence for many years now already. But it matters what the United States does in response to what's going on over there. We cannot just ignore it, but neither are we a partisan in an intra-Islamic sectarian fight between Sunnis and Shiites. But do we care how things turn out? Yeah, of course we do. The defeat of the Islamic State is very important, certainly for the people of the region. But if all we have done in helping to defeat the Islamic State is, as I put it, clear the decks for the expansion of an aggressive, geostrategically expanding Shiite crescent led by Iran, which now controls capitals in Baghdad, Beirut, Damascus, its own, Tehran, plus making a play on down around the Arabian Peninsula for Yemen, then what have we accomplished? We have to understand that there are forces at play here, that we're not partisan to one side or the other. Jihad is jihad, and Sunni jihad or Shiite jihad is exactly the same thing. But what we've done so far is help to tip the balance, and that does matter for the United States. It matters for our ally Israel, other allies in the region. I would name Jordan. I also would put the Kurds in that category. So it does matter how it turns out, but I think we have to be very careful not to take a partisan side, because whether it's the Shiite jihadis or the Sunni jihadis, they are all antithetically, viscerally opposed to the United States and our allies as well.
Wow, well, Claire, I don't look forward to that, but we look forward to speaking with you more over the course of the year, obviously following all your work at securefreedom.org, the Center for Security Policy. Claire, really grateful for you joining us and offering your expertise this morning.
Thank you, Raheem. Thank you very much.
Thank you.